All right, I'm just kind of testing out the audio on this to see if the AC is too bad, because yeah, there's a little bit of AC noise. I can hear it. I'm going to turn the gain on the mic down all the way and see what happens to the AC noise. All right, well, we will. I'll be turning the AC on and off. A little bit of ambient noise there. I'm like gulping and swallowing. I'm getting ready. It's coming, it's coming. Wait, where'd my... Oh, one of my desktops is in the wrong place. There we go. All right, let me get my browser ready. I don't normally talk while I'm getting set up, but I am today. I don't want to use Safari. I want to use Brave. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh. Oh, where am I? Oh, it's sharing the wrong screen. What is going on? Hold on just 1 minute. Technical difficulties. Got a couple things going on wrong here. Okay, fix that. I had a system update, and apparently it made my computer confused about which monitor is which. So I need to fix that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Baba. I'm going to have to set up a new screen here. It's not going to let me change it. I mean, I guess I could just code on this screen. That would be fine. No, I don't want to do that because the resolution's off. I will just... Oh, and I don't have the comments open yet. I'll get that open in just a second. I'm going to go back to the stream will begin shortly. No, I can't do that because then I can't edit this. And I'm going to take this off. I don't need this anymore. Okay, I do have comments open on YouTube. And I am getting comments open on Twitch here. And then I'll get my screen corrected momentarily. Sorry about that. I did not realize that the system update would... Oh! Oh, this is bad. Did it mess up my screen entirely? It may have. Okay, sorry. I'm going to take a minute. Let me put this here 1 second. I'll share with you so that anybody who's watching and cannot see yet. Come on. No, new document. Come on, Google Drive. You can do this. I know you can. There we go. Oh yeah, that doesn't look good at all. Which is why I had my screens set up the way that I like them. Okay. Let's try this again. Add. So first of all, will my display still work properly? I hope that they didn't screw up my display properties. Okay, which one is which? This one is this. Is 1600 by 900 what I normally have? I think it is. Okay, cool. Good. All right, so unscrewed up my one display. Now I've got to go fix the sharing settings here. Display capture. Okay, that's not quite what I wanted, but oh, we don't want that one. There we go. Okay, that does not look right at all. Let's see if I can get this here. Go. Meh. Okay. Now we can get started. And I'm going to move this a little bit and then scooch over a little bit. There we go. Okay, I've got comments open. And yeah, we are going to do some auth code. So I'm going to go into, let me create my project directory here, move my sandwich over. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to be eating a sandwich. If mouth noises bother you, you will suffer. All right. So I'm going to go into my projects directory. I'm going to create a new project. We're going to call this Auth 3000 because this is the 3000th time that I've done an Auth project, and thankfully this one is going to get completed. Not that I wouldn't have completed them before, but things happened, like the project got canceled or just various reasons, or core technologies of the web changed, these sorts of things. So what I'm going to do first is just create a plan. So what I need to do is have a route. We're going to call this, say, API auth in exchange. And this is going to be something that creates. So it's going to be a post. Some people do this as a Git, but I do it as a post because Git is for transactions that do not create or destroy or modify. So we're going to have a post. And what it's going to look like is something that has cookie headers. So I don't remember whether it's cookie or cookies, but it's going to have something like that. And we may actually do an exchange that works with other types of things. We're going to put a refresh token in the cookie. And then what we're going to get back is a JWT, which I refuse to call JOT because I believe in a phonetic alphabet and W does not make the O sound, people. All right, with that, this is basically what we're trying to do. And the reason that we're doing this, so you may have heard that it's bad to store tokens in local storage. And I kind of agree and kind of disagree, because at the level at which somebody has access to your local storage, they probably have access to your API, and they might have, if they have access to your browser and that's how they have access to your local storage, then they have access to all of your cookies too. But it's one of those tick boxes that you got to tick, and there is a marginal amount of extra security. For example, if there's rogue JavaScript on the page and you have a short-lived token, say one that only lives for 15 minutes or an hour, then it cannot export that token out to somewhere else and then continue to use it in the future for, say, up to 90 days. So this is the benefit of doing an exchange. So we want to do an exchange, refresh token in cookie for short-lived. So refresh token might be something anywhere between, say, maybe it's 24 hours to 90 days is a pretty common range. And then our short-lived token might be anywhere from 15 minutes to, say, 24 hours is a common range, or maybe even up to 72. I think 24 is kind of somewhere in that range. So basically this means that if we were to revoke the user's access at a higher level up in the system, and their token gives them some sort of transaction or some sort of ability that doesn't require a lookup to their permission table, like there's some role or something inside of the token, this is how long someone could act rogue. And in the most tight environments, we want 15 minutes. And then in looser environments, we might want 24 hours. But generally, you want to get a token on a rotation so that it's exchanging regularly. And that's what we're going to be building here. So I'm going to go and I'm actually going to create a repository for this. I'm going to create it on github.com. And I recommend that when you create a repository, that you create it private, unless you actually have documentation. I hate it when people have a million open projects that are half-baked and unfinished. You know, if you're looking to get a job, start your repositories as private, move them into public once you have documentation on how to use it. Don't wait for the quote-unquote 1.0. You'll never get there. Okay, we're going to call this Auth 3000. This is not the name that I'm really going to go with, but it's just a project name for now. Yet another Auth library by AJ. And I've written a bunch of these things over the years. We'll go ahead and take a node git ignore. I like to use the MPL. That's the Mozilla. Oops, there we go. Mozilla Public License. Just because it's a little bit more well balanced. MIT doesn't give you any rights, and then GPL is just redonkulous. I'd never recommend GPL to anybody. MPL is kind of a nice middle ground. It's similar to the LGPL, which we don't need to go in all that. And I'm not even going to put this description here because I don't want it to show up. Whatever. It'll go somewhere eventually anyway. Okay. So now we've got our repository. I'm going to go ahead and clone this. And I'm not into the politics of it all. I've said this before. I'll say it again. But I think that since everybody's moving over to using main, and there's no real harm in it, it's a few letters shorter, whatever. I now use main, which is something that a lot of people probably thought I wouldn't do. Hold on, I need to type my password. Let me mute. The reason I mute is that, of course, if you have any sort of audio software that's listening to me type, it can figure out everything from what keyboard layout I'm using to exactly what I'm typing. So if I'm typing passwords, I like to mute. I like to not have to type passwords, have that stuff done ahead of time before I do the streams, but I rebooted my computer this morning and I forgot about that. So now I've added it to my SSH keychain. Okay, so here is our README. Actually, I want to take a look at the license real quick. I just kind of have a curiosity here. Does it actually have any point where it says who the copyright is to? No. I'm actually going to replace all of that with just this. That's perfectly reasonable. We got 2021. And then there's another company I'm going to need to put into the license as well that's sponsoring this project. Okay, so here we are. Oh, crap. Did I just... I deleted our actual good documentation. Shame on me. I'll just type it out again real quick. And then this is going to need to be something like cookies. No, do not log into eBay Partner Network. That's not what we're doing right now. All right, and then it's going to get back... JW2. There we are. Exchange, refresh, token, in cookie. And what was this? We said something like 24-hour to 90 days. For short-lived session token, which is going to be, what do we say, 15 minutes to 24 hours? Yeah. Let's put that over there. All right. And I actually find that it's a good idea to create repositories for stuff that you're doing at work. I sell people on this idea if you need to, because you get to work on it independently of the main code base. And you get to write documentation for it. It's smaller, it's more well contained. You don't want to, there's a balance, but I think it's a good idea to do, just to develop a habit of it. Okay, now I'm going to do npm init. This is going to create my package. We're going to call this 0.1.0 because we're not there yet. Description. And we're going to call this, we'll put that as index.js, sure. Test command, we're going to have this be npm run test. No, that would be what npm run test runs, duh. I guess this will just be node, let's say /test. And then maybe we'll put in index.js in the test directory or something, or I'll just put it test.js at the top level. We'll fix it later if we need to. Yeah, that's the right repository, keywords, it doesn't matter. Okay. Here we are. So we've got our package.json, which means that now we can install, we are going to need Express. We're going to need async router. We're going to need the cookie parser. I think it's called cookie parser. Let me Google that for myself. Express cookie parser. I'm not going to write a cookie parser. I don't see any sense in doing that. I don't think there's anything that I could bring to the table that the existing cookie parser doesn't have, or I shouldn't sell myself too short like that. But I don't think that it would likely be worth it. So I'm not going to do that. Alrighty. And yeah, this looks like this is the legit official cookie parser. Do we have anything else that's cookie here? We're going to need body parser. I think body parser is already included. I don't know. Well, we'll put that one down there too. We'll just make it explicit. That's fine. Let's see. Is there any other stuff that we're going to need here for sure? We're going to need cores eventually, but we don't need it right now. I don't think we need cookie session. Error handlers included. We might want to do Morgan. That's a log handler, mabob. Serve favicon, I'm pretty sure is included, as well as serve index, serve static, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Serve favicon is a good one to have. We don't need it though. Okay, just the things we need. I think that's a good place to start. And I'm actually going to start building this out as probably, I don't know if I've got a good way to test cookies. Let's see what the cookie parser has. Does it have like a module underneath of it? Because I think the cookie parser is very, very specific to what in the world is wrong. Why is the page, do I need to make the page smaller? Do I need to make the page bigger? What is going on with this? Why is it wasting all this space over here? Okay. Parse a cookie value as a JSON cookie, whatever that means. Signed cookie, give it a string. Let's see how we use it. Yeah, I think this goes in the request object. So this is not low level enough for me to do. I'll probably start my tests in Bash, and I'm not necessarily a test-driven development person, but I think it is good to formulate your ideas of what it is you want to do well enough to decide what the conditions of success are. So I'm going to go ahead and create an app.js, even though our index.js is what is ultimately we're going to export, or maybe we will export this. We'll see. I'm going to have, let's see, HTTP equals require HTTP. We're going to need express. Oops. Actually, we don't need express until later, but whatever. Put it here. We're going to need app. And that's going to be, this is just a very thin, lightweight wrapper around the default express router. But it gives us the ability to use async await and still have errors handled in a meaningful way. So I like to use that. We're going to create server, and then let's do let server equals express.use app. So just boilerplate that we're working on right now. I'm just going to get a hello world up. I should actually, you know what I need to do? And I think I'm going to do this right now. I need to save this as a snippet somewhere so that when I want it, I can just use it again. Because I'm a big believer in the snippets. So we're going to check for process.env.port, or otherwise we're going to assume, let's say port 3000 and something, 3042. And then, yeah, we're going to listen on the port, and then we're going to have something that prints out to the screen. Listening on, and then this dot address. Okay. You know, yeah, maybe I should make a template repository on GitHub. That might be a good thing to do. And then I need to tell JS hint valid this true. So it's complaining because it says you're using this, but it doesn't look like something that should use this, but it's attached to this handler here. So this is, in effect, the server that this thing creates. So I'm actually going to do one more thing here. Require.main is equal to the module. Well, let's say this. Require.main is not equal to the module. Module.exports equals app. We don't need any, whoops, let's put that down underneath. And then return process.exit. That's the right thing to do. No? Wait, what do we do? How do I stop? Break? I don't know. Huh. Actually, I might need to do this the other way. And I'll probably need to spell exports correctly. Okay. Let's do it like this then. I don't really like doing it like that, but if I'm going to do it like that, I'm going to move the listener handler up into here and not give it a name. We'll just do it like this. Okay. Cool. So there we are. And let's do app.get hello. And then we'll have our little function here. That because I am using async router, if it gets back from its promise, everything gets turned into a promise. Every function gets turned into a promise. You know, all async functions are promises, and when you await something, all awaited functions get turned into promises. It's all syntax sugar stuff. But if I just give it an object, this is one of the cool things about it that at first I didn't like, but now I kind of do. I thought it was kind of stupid at first, but you can return an object, and then that will automatically, it'll call res.json on this, which is kind of neat. All right, so now we've got this all set up. Also, I need to copy over my, I don't use ESLint because I don't know why, but I prefer JSLint still. I'm old school. Good, we don't need a lot of options there. And then I think I have a default prettier RC. Nope. I need to get a prettier RC up in here because prettier just does all sorts of weird things. Let me just copy it from this project. Yeah, we'll copy that. And then I might as well copy the prettier ignore. I don't know what that's ignoring, but let me see. Oops. Prettier ignore. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Whatever. I don't really need that. And then one more thing, because I don't know why I don't have it. Oh, I do know why I don't have it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my home directory, but I'm going to put it as prettier rc.template.json.txt. There we go. Just so it doesn't actually get picked up by prettier, because prettier behaves weird when you've got something in your project directory. And prettier is what does the formatting. Okay, so this is just the stupid stuff. We got some boilerplate done, and we've got the README done. And now let's just go ahead and I'm going to open up another window here. Let's see what we end up with. 110 versus what's this one at? Oh. Hold on just one second. I'm going to see if I make that a little bit bigger. If I do make that a little bit bigger, I have to make this a little bit smaller. That's all right. So let me expand this out to about 98. And then just, oh, there we go. Make it a little bigger. So I'm going to go into the project directory, and I'm just going to start with some really simple tests. So I'm going to do I'm going to call this test.sh. We're just going to put in here localhost 3009 hello. And this is basically the bash equivalent of ustrict right there. And then I need to make sure that this is qualified as a bash file. Okay, good. Why did I think it was? Oh my god. I'm getting old. Okay, I'm going to use watch exec So if you don't have Node or Watch Exec or some of these other things installed, they're all available on webinstall.dev. So webinstall.dev. If you go here, you can click on any of them. It'll give you install instructions and then a cheat sheet with the common options of what stuff means. So it's all right there. And this is my watch exec for Node is just -r-e. -r is restart it anytime a file with this extension changes. I'm just looking for files with the extension JS, and then -- because I'm done giving it options, and then the command to run is node app.js. So I've got that going. Good. I've got my hello world. Great. So now let's move on to the next thing. I just want to be able to set a cookie. So we're going to make a kind of a fake sign in. Let's go to Auth 3000 here. Oh, whoops. I want that to be in here. So let's just make a fake sign in route. I'm going to call it post sign in. And the whole thing that we're doing here is we're just going to set a cookie for anything. Let's actually auth in. Yeah, that'll work. /session. There we go. That sounds good. So I'm going to post to this endpoint with some sort of credentials, and then I'm going to get back something else. I will go ahead. I'm going to add key pairs to this as well. We're just going to put a really, maybe we'll put a really simple JWT. Let me go, yeah. I'm gonna start out. We're not even going to do the JWT yet. We're just going to get the basic cookie thing that we need done. So, and I'm going to have a bite of my sandwich because otherwise I won't eat it. And my apples are turning brown. I'll try it too quietly. I think body parser is included with Express. We'll find out momentarily. At one point they removed it. I always forget and I have to go look it up. We'll try it. Okay, and we're going to want to set a cookie here. So I think we do have to require this separately, yeah. We have to give it a secret and options, which means we also need the .env package. But here we are. Use cookie parser. And I don't like to use like this where there's no path. I always like to put a path. I know it's convenient to not type 3 characters sometimes, but it's just so much more, I don't know. But then again, that coming from the person that is no longer typing res.json, so whatever. Meaning now I'm just doing these returns where I can rather than calling res.json when I don't have to. Okay. There's the cookie parser app.use cookie parser. And then we're going to need a secret. We're going to get rid of that very quickly, but I just want something in here for testing. Okay, we need cookie, wait, signed cookies. Yeah, that's what we want. We want signed cookies, I think. Maybe we don't really need a signed cookie because the token itself is going to be signed. But we can cross that bridge when we get there. Do we need to pass anything? Yeah, we pass in secret, cookie parser, secret, and then options. What are options? Options are secret. See cookie for more information. Okay. We probably don't need any options, but I want to go check and see just in case. Oh, and okay. Options. What are options? Decode? Or just give it a special decode function? Yep, okay. We don't need to worry about that. Cool. No options. As is good. All right, so we've got that one. Actually, I'm going to do this all caps because I'm going to turn it into an environment variable, so might as well. Yeah. I'll just go ahead and do the environment thing right now. So what we need is .env. And what this does is it allows us to have, so I'm going to create an example.env, and we're going to do port equals 3042, and we're going to do cookie secret equals, I don't know, this super secret. Yeah. And I'm actually, I don't think they support the export type. I think it supports comments though. Anyway, an env file has certain rules that it should follow, but the .env module in Node, the author is kind of pedantic about certain things and wants to deviate from the pre-existing spec in certain ways, and so he does a couple of things a little bit differently, and it's kind of like, come on, man. But it's his thing, so he gets to do what he wants to do. That's how the cookie crumbles. All right, so now I should have a cookie secret there. I'm just going to double check that this is actually going to work. Normally I require this all the way up at the top, .env, and I think it's .config, I think is what we call. So it's going to read environment variables. It's going to read from that file, and if an environment variable isn't already specified, it's going to use that as the default. And then, so when we do process.env.cookie_secret, it's getting it from the environment, but it's being set from the environment in that file by the .env module. So we're good there. And then I'm going to fork that and make my own that has proper support for the syntax that as it is spec'd at some point. I think it's actually, somebody has a PR in for it. He just doesn't like it. He just doesn't like the idea of it. Okay, so that's all good. Let's go ahead, and I just want to console.log cookie secret. And in our thing that's restarting all the time, there we go. Yep, we can see that cookie secret is being logged. So that's good. So now we need to go to our session and have it do something useful. I think we're going to do res.cookie. How does it work? This API is not intuitive to me. Is it signed cookies, but how do I set a cookie? That's the thing that I get confused, because there is a way to set a cookie. Signed cookie. So is it, maybe the other module is called, it's just called cookie? So set cookie is serialize. Yeah, I don't work with cookies very often. I try to avoid them because of the security problems that they've had historically. Now new browser security policies are available that it's not such a big deal. I mean, doing it this way is fine. Anyway, if you use the new features that are available, it's something like over 90% of browsers support the new security policies. And for those other 10% of people that are in Asia on Internet Explorer 11, they're probably not in your target demographic of concern. I don't think it's I don't think the 10% is the United States. I think it's in countries where a bunch of people are still running pirated Windows XP or something. I don't know. I shouldn't even say because I really don't know. I'm blowing farts out of my mouth. Okay, what was I looking for? Express sign set cookie. Res.cookie. Is that really what it is? But don't we need, this is probably 8 years, yeah, this is 8 years old. So cookie parser, yes. Rec.cookies, res.cookie. Okay. So we just try it out and we'll see. So res.cookie, and then I think it's going to be signed because we did this little ditty right here with the cookie parser. So let's just call this one, I'm going to call it auth 3000 refresh token. And then we can set it to anything we want. Let me take a look what the options are, because there we can do HTTP secure and HTTPS only, stuff like that. Where are the options? There we go. Max age, HTTP only, signed, and then there's another option, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But I think it's something like origin. Let's take a look and see. Cookie options, HTTP only. What was the other things here? Max age, signed. Hopefully that'll get us to the right module. Res.cookie. Nope, those are not the right ones. Manage cookies with Express. And there's a lot of stuff out there that's better than Express. So Express is really old. It's not maintained actively. Well, it is maintained, but it's not actively developed, which is fine. It's complete. But it has a lot of legacy bloat from the early days, because as it progressed, it became more complete, and then they took things apart and refactored them. Yes, all these things we want. There we go. Excellent. This is very wonderful. I am going to, as I do work, I like to blog. And so I'll make little comments that I'll turn into a blog post later. Same site. That's the one that I wanted. So what I want to know is, where is the documentation for this officially? Let me see. Because it's a little confusing, because the cookie, it makes sense that the cookie parser is separate. But then where are we defining things like max age? Yeah, this is a little frustrating to me. Ah, there we go. And what about same site? All right. So we want secure to actually have an exception, because we want to be able to enable localhost. And we don't want JavaScript to have access to these cookies. That's part of the reason that we're doing a cookie rather than local storage, is so that, well, that's the reason, so that JavaScript doesn't have access to it. Yeah, we do want to set, well, domain we shouldn't have to set. It should be implicit. And path, I do like to restrict cookies to the auth path. So again, where is the documentation for res.cookie? That's what I want to know. Where is res.cookie? Res.cookie. There we go. Okay, I don't know what part of the site I was on before, but this is what I really want to link to, is this right here. Oh wait, no, this is 5x? No, I don't want 5x, I want 4x. 5x was never released. There we go. Well, it's released in alpha. All right. Also, I do have the comments open on YouTube. It doesn't look like they're working on Twitch for some reason, but I've got them open on YouTube. So if you want to ask a comment, I'm looking over there occasionally. Okay, where was I? Yeah, list of cookie options. That would actually, so it's funny that this one shows up in search before this one does, but that would be the correct thing. All right, let's look again. Res.cookie and a value. Okay. And really, this is kind of setting a sub cookie because there's only one. I think there's just one cookie header that gets sent, but then it can have many sub cookies inside of it. So we're going to call this shared secret for now. And that's just a placeholder value. So there's going to be a value to the cookie called auth 3000 refresh token. And there's going to be a shared secret. And then we're going to pass in these options. And I think, let's see, if development is equal to process.env.env, I guess there's an environment variable called env usually. Then we want, let's see, cookie ops. Let's just put this here. Whoops. Did I have some? Nope, I don't have anything in my copy paste buffer. So we want HTTP only always. We want same site. I think we want strict for that. Is what we want. We want signed. We want a path. The path is going to be /API/auth. So the cookie will only be allowed at that path. Is that what we call this auth in? Yeah, auth in. Authentication is auth in versus authorization is auth z. So it can only go there. HTTP only is true. And then secure, we want to set to true, but if we're in development, then we might want to say cookie ops.secure equals false. Domain encode expires. Huh. Creates a session cookie. What does that mean? I'm actually I thought that expiration date was the most important thing. Convenient option for setting expiry time relative to the current time in milliseconds. Okay, so this is just convenience. How long should it last? And then they're just calling the date function and adding that value on there with that. So secure, signed, same site. Let's see. Boolean or string. I'm pretty sure that the value we want is strict. Strict and lax enforcement. Same site value equals strict or lax. Yeah, we want strict. Creates a session cookie. I'll be interested to see what that looks like. So is that the only value? I think that's the only value that we're going to need to change every single time we set a cookie. And for now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do object.assign, and you give it your newest object, and then you give it your template object. I don't know if that's quite the right way to explain it. But let's put these out on separate lines. So object.assign is basically a shallow merge. So it's going to merge this, which has, for right now, I'm just going to leave it as expire 0 because I want to see what session cookie means. Because I'm wondering if that's an Express specific terminology or if that is something that the browser now understands that for as long as the user has this tab open, keep the cookie, as opposed to, when the browser closes, delete the cookie. So it's not based on time, but based on the browser session history, and I'm not really familiar with that. And then we want cookie ops. I probably should call that cookie defaults. I like that better. Maybe I don't, but I'm going to keep it for now. I already started changing it. It's kind of long. So now what we should have is a cookie that's going to get set when we do a post to authn session. And we're going to console.log the body to find out if the body is there. And I think, was there an option for JSON cookie? Or do we just have to call json.stringify? I think what we have to do, json.stringify. Whoops. No, that doesn't make sense because we already have key and value pairs, so we don't need to turn it into a JSON object because then we'd have a key value pair with key value pairs, object and object. I don't know if I want to have it encoded. Plus, that'd probably look really ugly and difficult to read, but we'll find out in just a second. So we're going to take API authn session in our example.env. Let's go ahead and put env equals development so that we can have it turn off that secure cookie mabob. And then, all right, now I'm going to go back to my test. My very simple test here, /API/authn/ oh gosh, I already forgot what it was called, session. There we go. And this one is going to be a post. And one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to source.env. So this will give us the port. So now I can actually, in here, I can say don't use 3042 necessarily, use whatever the port is set to. So there we go. And what am I going to post to that? Let's say I'm going to do, whoops, content type application JSON. So I'm going to tell it, hey, parse this body as JSON. And then what data am I going to give it? I'm going to give it just hello. Oh, whoops. This needs to be proper JSON. It needs to have quotes. Let's call this message howdy. All right, now I'm going to run this. Oh, yeah. That makes, does that make sense? Oh, you know what I forgot to do though? So we have to do, I think the option is -B. So we need to set where our cookie jar is for curl. So let's just call this cookies.jar, and then we have to specify it twice because one is where does it write cookies and the other is from where does it read cookies. So we want to store cookies in the cookie jar. And actually, I'll just put an echo there and there so that I get a new line from those. And I'm going to change this one from saying hello world to saying hello session. That way it's just more distinguishable. So I'm just doing, these aren't really tests per se. I'm just kind of lightly examining what's going on. And let's take a look at our cookies jar. All right. What? HTTP local only. I want it false. Refresh token. Shared secret. Okay, and it's signed. Okay. What does this mean? Did I put something in front of that? Let me take a look back in here. No? I don't actually know what that means, but that's okay. I don't have to know. Yes, I do. I have to know. I have to. %3a. What does this become? Tell me, JavaScript. What is %3a? What do I need for this? Unescape? Unescape. Is that what I need? Colon. Oh, signed. Okay, so it's S colon because it's signed. If I didn't have it signed, it probably would not have the S and the colon in front. That's okay. I don't know why this is saying false, but whatever. All right, we got the boilerplate pretty much out of the way, I think. Next thing we want to do is, I'm going to need to take a break in a little bit. Just go take a walk or something. But before that, let's get this full loop done. Yeah, the first hour is just the boilerplate. Welcome to the real world. I think this is what this was, right? Res.signed cookies. It's kind of weird that they have, the documentation is so disparate between the two. So there's cleared cookies. Does it have signed cookie in here? No, I don't get that. That's so weird. Yeah, the cookie setter and the cookie parser are not, they're not related. They might, I wonder if they had two different authors. That would be so weird, but totally possible. So signed cookie. Okay, if the value was not signed, the original value is returned. If the value was signed, but the signature could not be validated, false is returned. And I think, I'm pretty sure that this secret is optional because I already specified secret earlier, right? Or there's two different things going on here, so maybe I do need to put the secret in both places. So this cookie, I don't know. This is confusing to me. All right, signed is true. Okay, cookies.name, signed cookies. I'm confused by the asymmetry between these two things. And that is just that. So we should actually console.log. Let's just log all the signed cookies. This should be fine. Cookie parser, signed cookies.user. Okay. This is super, super confusing that the APIs are not congruent. I hate that. I hate that. If you watch me code all the time, I get so frustrated when if you have an input and an output, like two things, and JSON.stringify and JSON.parse are correct. They are congruent. They're part of the same object. They work the same way. They have the same API. It's very congruent. This is not congruent. This is a little confusing. It's okay. I'll get over it. We'll live. So what should we get here? We should probably get, this would be fine. Take our cookie value and we're going to return that, and that will be our thing. So I should be able to set the cookie here and retrieve it here. So what are we going to do? We're going to get, somebody's going to sign in. They're going to get a token that way. They're going to exchange, they're going to get their cookie set when they sign in. So they're going to create a session. They're going to get their cookie set. And then we need a refresh endpoint that if the cookie is valid, will do the same thing. So let's call this refresh. And so this, the to-do here, I think we do have to add body parser explicitly. The to-do here would be check user credentials. So this might be something, there's multiple ways we could go about this. This could be our Google sign-in token. This could be our username and password. Other stuff like that. So we're going to have to put that in there. And then this one, we're basically just going to check that the cookie is not expired. So if this comes back, we may need to put some extra data in there, because I would like to be able to check the expiration explicitly, but we'll leave this as is for now. So basically, if it has a valid token, well, rather, let's say if it does not have a valid token, then we want to set the status code to 400. This is a bad request from the user. And then since I'm doing that here, I might as well just finish the job. And let's send, well, actually, no, we'll have an error handler. I'm going to throw an error in this case. So we'll have a set of errors. Invalid refresh token or invalid session. Call it something like that. Actually, let's I'm going to do this for now. We'll put this one in more English. Missing or invalid session. Log out and log in again. That might be something we would display to the user. It shouldn't be possible for the user to get this error. The whatever framework is going to be handling the cookies should be handling this. But let's just say that we're going to throw that error there. And then if things go well, then we're essentially just going to be repeating this. So I'm going to create a function, a little helper function, set auth in refresher. And we're going to take a res we're going to do that. And I'm separating this out right now because I think there's probably multiple places where I'm going to use this, because I'm probably going to have a place to create a session with username and password, a different place to create a session with Google Auth, so on and so forth. And so if they don't have a valid refresh token, we're going to throw an error. If they do have a valid refresh token, then we are going to refresh it. And then we should also give them back a short-lived token, which I'm not going to do the JWT right now. 2 to 15-minute token, or let's say 2-hour token. That should be good. And then we need to set up our error handler. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So we'll do use function error rec res next. And then here we'll do if error.code. Then this is an error that we know what to do about, in which case we should call res.json, and we should include probably the code and the message. We don't need to include the stack trace, and we might want to set the status to something. Let's do this instead. Here, we'll do error.status equals 400, and then we can do like this. And we can do res.status code equals error.status, or we'll say or 500. And then that is completely handled. Otherwise, we want to log this out because it's not an error that we have handled. So let's call this unexpected error. So this is an error somewhere else. It could be a syntax error or a database error, but it's not one of the errors that we manually created. And we will console.log that error. And then to the user, we need to set the status code to 500. And we need to just end this request with internal server error. And it would actually maybe make sense to do that instead as JSON with, message. But whatever, we'll do it just like that for now. And I would actually separate out a default error handler from an API error handler. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to put to do handler for /API. Okay, so I think that's at a good spot to kind of test and see where we're at. So I should be able to post to the refresh without cookies, and I should get back an error. So let's test that real quick. So we're going to change this to refresh. We're not going to give it any cookies. And so what I expect to see back here is going to be an error. And we can turn these into real tests later on. I just need something quick and dirty to get me going. All right, something went wrong there. Oh, there we go. Cool, excellent. 500 internal server error is what we got. And we actually don't want to fail on this, so I'm going to take out the F. We're expecting a failure here. So I'm going to take out the F. Because if it fails with bash in strict mode, the script will stop. All right, so now let's do the next thing, which is let's actually have the correct cookies. Ooh, that's not good. Let's see what do we get here. Something's going on. Oh, that's too much for me to understand. Let's rerun this. Okay. Cannot read auth 3000 refresh token of undefined. Okay. Oh, documentation. So this should have had the cookie parser, right? Oh, and I don't want to use the cookie parser everywhere. Oops, that's a security risk. I only want to use the cookie parser where, or I should say security risk waiting to happen rather. Okay. So it should be parsing cookies here just fine. We know the cookie was set. Why was the cookie not read? Do we need to do something special to get the cookie to be read? I'm doing some work, but what's up?
You're mailing your shirt.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take a break in a few minutes. I'm just trying to finish up something to get to a good break point. Okay. So sign cookies.user. I mean, this looks like this should be right. No, it's request, not res. Did I put res there by accident? I did put res by accident. That's why. Okay, cool. So rec.signed. Yep. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's run this again. All right, sweet. So now, oh, that internal server error, should we have gotten that before? Was it not throwing? Was it not logging out? Oh, okay, right, because it was having an unexpected error, which it was having an internal server error. That's why. Okay, so I would say that part one of this adventure is complete in the sense that And let's update the README with our documentation here. I did not call it exchange. So let's see. I've got post. Whoops. Session. And that's going to have something like well, there we go. johndoe@gmail.com. Pass. Oops. Secret. So we're going to have something like that. We don't need cookies. And then we're going to get back. We should get back a token. I don't know if we actually returned the token. I think we did. But we should get back set cookie and this. This should be the response. Let's say 200 OK, just to make that more clear. So that's looking good. All right, I'm just going to copy this whole thing. And then I'll commit this with a whip, because I'm not sure that it's really worthy of a true. Well, it's going to be the first commit. So no, it's the second commit. So I will be able to rebase it. I'm going to create a branch. I'm going to call the branch whip. I'm going to do a whip commit. That's work in progress. And then I'm going to break. And then we can reconvene after the break. All right, let me see what do we got going on here. So this one's going to be the refresh endpoint. We're also going to be posting to that, but we will be having a cookie. And we won't need this. And then we will get back, but potentially a set cookie, because we might just refresh the cookie that they already have and just keep it rotating. Or we might do the max age thing where we say, you know what, we don't want to rotate the cookie indefinitely. We want to eventually, the cookie needs to expire. So we could rotate it. We could do both. We can set a max age on it and we can rotate it and keep the same expires date as we rotate it. That way we could, I don't know what benefit that would gain us, but whatever. All right, here's the response. We're gonna get so we're gonna post to refresh. We're gonna have the cookie, and we might actually also have some options. In the case that I'm building this for, it actually will have options. So there are different types of, there's ID tokens and there's access tokens. And we want to be able to use this ID token to say, actually, you can refresh an access token that's access for this specific sub account. So you've got the person has their main account, and then they might have 5 sub accounts, just like YouTube. And so when they go to hit the refresh endpoint, they're going to not specify a sub account, in which case they're going to get back basically their ID token, or they're going to specify a sub account, which is going to give them the access token for that particular account, essentially. So let's say, the account might be something like that. And then a response, we're going to get a set cookie, and we're going to get back this. I should update the other one too. This is our target, is to get back ID token or access token. I think that's fair. Whoops. I think the session one, I guess technically we could do the same thing with the session one. We could get back an ID token and or an access token. And then let's put in here account 0. I went down to the bottom of the screen. Sorry, you don't see me scroll because I just used the hotkeys, but I went down to the bottom of the screen here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to look at this in BAT. So I get a little bit more syntax highlighting here. What we need an HTTP and maybe this exists. If this exists, comment and let me know. But we need something where instead of having a text block, we could have an HTTP block, and there's like a specified format of this is what an HTTP request looks like as text, which is not always exactly the same representation as the way that it goes across the wire, because the way that new lines are different, or maybe the way that some values are encoded or something. We wouldn't want to necessarily have to show the encoding, but we need some sort of markdown parser for that. Anyway, this looks good. Oh, except that last part there. I think I want to change that last part. We're not calling it exchange. Right now we're calling it refresh. Okay, so git checkout -b whip. So making a new branch whip. I'm going to take a look at what I got here. I have a README. I have an app. I have an example.env. I have a package. I've got a test.sh. All these things are important. Actually, yeah, it's all good stuff. Actually, I'm going to do a reset. I'm a little bit pedantic about this. I shouldn't be. But I'm just going to do commit, add license. All right, add JS hint, add .prettier. In our git ignore, we definitely want to ignore the cookies.jar. I'll come down in just a minute. Yeah, so we want the .git ignore. Okay. Alrighty, I will. So let's say add tooling files. I'll come down, sweetie. All right. Let's add all this stuff here and the app.js. And then this is whip. Set, get, and reset cookies. Oh, we'll also need a log out route too that just clears the cookies. I'm going to put that in a little to-do here. To-do.md. Log out. Okay. Well, I think that's good enough for now. And yeah, I'm going to take a break. And I will come back and we will continue on this journey and we'll get to the more meaty part. So we got the boilerplate done. We got the set, get, reset of the cookies done. I think I'm going to do a little bit more with the cookies, and then we'll move on to the JWT stuff, and we'll see. I've already got some of the Google Auth stuff done. We're going to have to put in a shim here for. We'll put in a shim for the user password, because what I'm going to do is allow us to have a user supplied username and password. I'm going to create this somewhat modular, because like I said, this is actually for the company I'm working for. And so I want to make it generic enough that we can have it as a separate module. We can store it separately, and we can have it maintained as its own thing that has its own test that's small and maintainable. But I want to have it extensible enough so that obviously it works for the real use case, but that it's not tied to certain specifics of our use case that are not necessarily generic specifics. Anyway, with all that, I am out of here. So I hope that you learned something. If you did, go ahead and give this a thumbs up. If you've got any recommendations, comments, questions, whatever, leave that in the comments. And down in the doobly... No, dang it. I'm getting so bad about the doobly-doo. The doobly-doo is the description. Anyway, yeah, leave that there, and I will catch you later. Adios.